My name is Billy. I study in Sunshine Elementary School. As I remember, it was an unusual morning. I chatted with my friends and did some playful tricks on some of my classmates who I think they were easily to bully. Until the bell rang, Mr. Chen asked all of us to get back to our seat. There was a girl that I didn't meet before. Mr. Chen said her name is Mia. Today she is going to be part of our class. Let us give her a big hand and introduce herself. Then the girl said nothing and took out a piece of paper and wrote, "My name is Mia. I hope you can communicate with me by writing on a paper because I cannot hear." After that, I set her as my pranking target. I yelled beside her ears to test whether she could hear what we say or not. What's more, we drew some foul words of her on the blackboard. When she entered the classroom, I pretended to be a kind-hearted person and said, "How can it be so awful? Let me help you clean this up." However, what ignited my fury was she didn't say anything but wrote a thank you to me. The worst prank that I did to her was I took away her hearing aid and threw it outside the window. It crashed into pieces. After I threw out her hearing aid, someone told the situation to the teacher. Thus, the teacher gathered all students in order to figure out the ins and outs of the incident. To my astonishment, all of them said everything was my ideas and they had persuaded me not to get out of line. It seemed that everything was none of their business. From then, my friends treated me as what I had done to Mia. The next year, I attended into a junior high school, which was located nearby my elementary school. However, the situation was not changed, and it had been worse than how I imagined. When I came to school every day, there was nobody wanting to talk to me because most of my classmates knew what I had done to Mia. Mike, who always used to prank on Mia together with me, had become the person bullying me. At this situation, I could deeply understand the feeling of hurt. Since then, I started to learn sign language, hoping that someday I can get her forgiveness. However, I had not met her since we graduated and heard of anything about her. It was a huge disappointment for me that I could not apologize to her in her presence. On the contrary, I met her incidentally. One day, I sat on the bank of a river. Then I saw a girl standing beside the river. She shared some bread with her hands for feeding the ducks in the river. When a gust of wind blew her hair gently, I saw the hearing aid that she wore on her ear. Besides, she resembled Mia in appearance. It was really surprising me that someone looked so alike as Mia.
After I had fought for a while, I encouraged myself to go forward and confirm whether she is Mia or not. When I walked to her, she grimaced at me and then ran away. I was caught off guard by what she had done. Then I tried to keep up with her. When I caught up with her, she stopped and turned her back on me. At that moment, I was completely sure she was Mia. Her face looked pretty pale, and her body was shivering. She began to cry. I tried my best to calm her down, but all she did is run as fast as she could. The next day, I saw a piece of paper on my desk, and it said, "Please meet me on the top floor after class by Mia." Then I realized that she was in the same school as me. I could not describe how happy I was at that moment, because this was an opportunity to apologize to her. When I saw Mia, I told her that I learned sign language firstly. After informing her, we began a long conversation by using sign language. First, I said sorry for pranking her. Even knowing the importance of hearing aids to her, I still made a bad decision. And I also told her how regretful for I was doing this. Second, I gave Mia an explanation about the terrible feeling of being pranked and being alone. Everyone defined me as a horrible person, and no one wanted to be my friend. In the beginning, I thought I could stand with this situation, but the truth was that I was so lonely. I could not imagine how sad and lonely Mia was when I pranked her. Going to a place which nobody liked you was totally a disaster. When you have problems, no one will give you a hand, for you are the one that being bullied. Finally, I asked Mia, "Could you forgive me?" in a nervous voice. I thought she would refuse to forgive me, and that was expected. Surprisingly, she said yes to my question. That day I could not sleep. Not only I was happy and grateful about Mia's forgiveness, but also wished that we can be a good friend from now on. After Mia forgave me for all the bad things I had done to her, I felt very frustrated and regretful every day. Mia's generosity and recklessness made me reflect on myself more deeply. I doubled down on being nice to Mia as if to make amends. She was kind enough to help others who faced the same difficulties as she did and to show kindness to the world despite the malice she suffered, just as she had forgiven me. Compared to her forgiveness, my conversation paled in comparison, so I began to wonder if I could help her or someone like her. From my own experience with Mia, there are still many people in the world who suffer from school bullying, and very few who dare to stand up for what is right, to make up for his past mistakes, and to prevent the next hearing-impaired person like Mia from being harmed. I decided to start a foundation to help the hearing-impaired. The purpose of the foundation is to help hearing-impaired people like Mia purchase equipment to improve their hearing and to fund their daily medical expenses. It will even help to train more social workers and professionals who can help the hearing-impaired to better integrate into society. Also, they will arrange some seminars in schools to spread the need for help and care for the hearing-impaired, and to tell the public that they are not different from the general public, except for the hearing-impaired.